Anyone who knows fitness knows what FITCON is.
Sure.
You created something great.
This is almost like a live audit, and I really like this.
I
This
actually
is
enjoy it.
showing
Yeah.
the skill.
So you had already booked the venue, you're doing it,
Yeah.
and you had never even been to a show.
No, I've never been to a fitness expo. I didn't even know what it was.
Okay. Then you you sell it, you have everything that you want, but there was no more vision.
Something's missing. Something's disconnecting here in life. Like
Yeah.
I'm just not happy.
And there are a lot of people out there that they sell themselves every day, but they're selling themselves on somebody else's dream.
And I honestly feel like having a dream is essentially selling yourself on purpose
dude.
of life.
Life is a pitch. It's simply that. It is a pitch, and it is fun. Well, let's make sure that you're being sold what you want and you're selling what you actually want to sell. I really just love selling. It's the easiest thing on the planet if you believe in yourself. Let's buckle up. By the way, my name's JL. This is Sell Anything.
Yeah. So legitimate story.
Okay. I like it. I'm ready
It's
for it.
embarrassing,
No, I love it. Yeah.
but it's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Be real. So after I sold my company, actually a little bit ago, you know John Matson, right?
I do. Yeah.
So I was like, John, let me come sell for you. I want to learn how to sell. Like,
Yeah.
because I've sold B2B, but I've never sold B2C, like
Yeah.
consumers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He queues up the people; they're already ready to buy. I just go present the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
By the way, John is legit.
He's a
His
good salesman.
company
Yeah.
is legit. It
Yeah.
is everything he preaches and teaches. His culture.
Yeah.
It stems from the top to the bottom. They're
Yeah.
animals. They're go-getters.
Yeah.
They are the best.
Absolutely.
And my eyes were opened.
Yeah.
So anyways, I joined Supra sales team.
Okay.
Want to test this out. Want to see, improve my skill.
Yeah.
Just kind of see where I could take it.
Yeah.
I shit you not, JO. I lasted 1 week.
Okay. Okay.
Guess how many people I closed?
I don't want to because I think I know where this is going. Because if you lasted a week, probably not many.
Less.
0.
Not one person.
Okay. Okay.
I took probably 20 calls,
Okay.
people who are ready to buy,
Okay.
and I didn't close one person.
Where was the disconnect? Do you know?
See, this is why I'm asking. I think
Yeah.
I know, but so it's funny. Right after that happened, you
Yeah.
know, I go back to B2B, which is my realm of sales,
Right. Right.
and I closed like 2 10K packages right back to back, no problem.
Yeah.
So I come from a B2B world,
Okay.
then I went to a B2C world selling,
Right.
and here's the difference with the B2B. I felt like I could go over analytics, I could go over numbers, I could really show
Yes.
ROIs. On
Mhm.
a B2C, it's really emotional based, where you have to connect with the person. You got to hit some pain points,
Yes.
right? You got to create a gap,
Yeah.
and then you got to close them. I was terrible at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I told John, I said, John, I don't want to waste your money. This
Yeah.
isn't my forever job. I just, really wanted to get
Yeah.
better at it.
Yeah.
Pass me over. So that's why I
Yeah.
asked those questions, because like I was terrible at it.
Right.
But B2B,
Yeah.
I understand it. I can do it. I can
Yeah.
communicate, and I can close.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is on if you had to audit me?
Oh, dude, I love it. I think you're spot on. So if I was just looking at it from surface conversation, people 100% buy on emotion and then they justify on logic. But in B2B, it's all logic. It doesn't matter how much homeboy likes you if he's an executive of a company. If the board doesn't approve, the board doesn't approve, it doesn't pencil. But if it's emotional, and you can help clearly paint the picture for the person, if you're selling fitness, if you're selling safety, whatever you're selling, of what the benefits are, not the features, but what the benefits are to them by enrolling or jumping into your product, they will emotionally buy in. And we know your emotional state is the best predictor of your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've made that emotional jump, then you're going to start looking for all of the logical reasons of okay, I'll feel better. I'm going to get abs. I won't be bloated. All of these things, they will logically start to justify after that emotional jump. Where B2B is, does it pencil? Great. If it doesn't, sorry, man. It's just cut and dried.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but so if you were to coach me on it,
Yeah.
or I guess the better question is, and I don't mean to ask the questions, but I'm really
Yeah.
curious, is can it cross over? Can a guy come from B2B cross over to B2C? And is there a universal sales principle that applies to both? Or is it really just like stick to what you know and what you're good at?
No, I think there is a universal principle, and the universal principle is you, right? And what you're offering. So first and foremost, if you're congruent with what you're selling, which fitness, you're for sure congruent. John's company is a fitness company, and they are savages, dude. I've gone through Supra. I've watched Supra grow from like athletic AF to what it is. Like, he's legit, dude. He really, really is. But it's not your world. Like, and I say this lovingly, you're an entrepreneur at heart. You created FITCON, dude. That is like the mecca of fitness. That's your baby. And so it's easy to sell. To try to plug yourself into somebody else's world where at your, and this is just my observation, at your very core, you're the guy. Like, it's much easier for you to sell your stuff, your brands, business to business, because the businesses you created, you're selling to other businesses. When you try to plug yourself into someone else's system, like, it just isn't as congruent for you as dude, this is my baby. I'm going to sell it to you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too, when I was selling for Supra was, and this might be my mindset, but I remember hopping on some of those calls and, you know, John's ads, you have to make at least 150K.
Yeah.
And the guys who come on oftentimes make much, much, much more than that.
Absolutely.
And I think the thought process that's going through my head is, you have the money, you have all the resources, like, just get in shape. I guess I didn't feel any empathy towards a lot of the guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that was a barrier to me creating the pain points?
Because if empathy is an emotional thing, right?
Sure.
And if that emotion can't be conveyed and you're just trying to talk to them logically about something they feel super vulnerable about, because they're not going to take the time to hop on the call with you and talk about how flabby and soft they are and how they can't tie their shoes or whatever it may be, and not expect a little bit of like, oh, dude, I get it, but I got you. This is going to work. And it's instead of like, dude, fatty, do something, which is probably not what you said. Like, right. So yeah, 100%. I think that plays into it. 100%.
So if I miss that empathy and that connection piece, which, like you said, whoever has the strongest state essentially wins, which if I have too strong of a state in that, which I did, which was like, just get in shape.
Yeah.
I lost. But if I had an empathetic state where I really understood where they were coming from and I wanted to help them.
100%.
So if I really didn't feel that way and I don't feel that way, can that be taught to feel that way? And can I manipulate my own emotion to force that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
or is it just, hey, probably not your realm of business you should be in?
I think it's a combination of both. Like, any success is a do with process. So if you want to create that desire to be able to connect and meet with, it's like within business and consumer or business to consumer, you got to meet them where they're at. And so you got to say, okay, this is where you're at currently. This is where I'm going to take you, creating that gap like you were saying. But if you're over here on this side of the gap and you're being like, dude, just get in shape, this is where you need to be, and you're not willing to bridge over to them with them emotionally, it's not going to happen. But if you'll jump over the bridge and say, I'm going to take you by the hand and take you here, I'm not, but my program will. Like, I got you, they'll come every time. And that can be learned if you want to, for sure. But also, it's okay to lean into your talents and lean into, dude, let's just do this off of logic. I've done it off of logic for years and I'm really good at it. Then just do that. Like, I think to answer the original question or circle fully back on it, the universal thing is you. Like, what do you really want to do? And those are the salespeople that really thrive, are the ones that are like, this is what I'm doing, not just to get better, but because I believe in it and I'm doing it.
Yeah. I once heard the saying that basically people aren't sold until they're understood.
Yeah. 100%.
Would you agree?
100% on the same coin, other side, right? Flip side of that, a confused mind will always say no. So if they don't feel understood, like, they're not going to do it. Like, because if they don't feel understood, then they're very confused of why you're even talking to them, right? So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, interesting. See, and on those calls, I have two different. See, this is almost like a live audit, and I really like this.
I actually
this is
enjoy
showing
it.
the skill.
Yeah.
So this is my thought, because that quote kept coming to my mind when I was doing the B2C sales. And so my idea of showing empathy or understanding was agreeing and being like, oh, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I think deep down inside, they could feel maybe that energy that was really, come on, like, right?
Pull your head out, dude.
Now,
Let's go.
Now let's talk B2B. When I do like a brand audit with somebody, audit their social media, audit their website, their messaging, right? Do the B2B sales.
Right.
I am about as blunt as you can get.
Absolutely.
I am so, not even intense, but just, this is terrible. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But I close everybody because inside I really want to help them.
Yeah.
And so that's where I go back. I think I misunderstood that. And this is where I'm interested on your opinion for the coaching.
Yeah.
Is at first I thought helping someone, understanding them was agreeing with them, but I closed less. But when I guess was really blunt and like, but had the energy of helping someone.
Right.
I was able to close them more. Thoughts on that?
I love it. And I would respond maybe with a question is, can you really help somebody if you agree with them when they're in just a crappy spot?
Oh.
Like there's zero help there. Like if I'm going to agree with you and validate your crappy behavior or your crappy solution, am I really helping you? And that's like.
So how would you show understanding and empathy, but at the same time, not validate that behavior? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. So I'd look at the behavior and I would basically just say, okay, where you're at right now. And let's just use the example of the fitness people, right? Where you're at right now, are you happy? No? Okay, cool. Are you comfortable in your own skin? No? Okay. Do you believe you can be? Maybe. Okay. If I can show you a way that belief gets strengthened and then your behavior changes and then your habits are changing and then all of a sudden you've got abs and you're enjoying your time on the beach with your family, you in? Like, yeah, I'm in, dude. Okay, then I can do that. Like, let's do this. And then bring them into it. Does that make sense?
It's way better than me. I remember I did a live recap because they Zoom all the calls.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed with myself. It was one of the most humbling things. And then I hear you just spit that out like it's nothing. Like for me to do that, would almost like, it was so difficult for me just to speak that easily and that plainly to someone.
Yeah.
But on the marketing side, on branding and business,
you're great at it.
I could speak all day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you are great at it. Like FITCON is, anyone who knows fitness knows what FITCON is.
Sure.
And so the fact that you created that and built that is because you just spoke the facts.
Yeah.
You could go to the business and say, yo, dude, this is how many consumers are going to be there. You need to sponsor this.
Yeah.
And they're like, where else would we find a venue or a median that will give us that many of our ideal customers that we can just speak to directly? You created something great.
Well, it's actually interesting on the FITCON side because we actually have B2B sales and we have B2C sales. So we have a sponsors and vendor side that we communicate very plainly with, hey, we have X amount of people. Right. Your product is in line with this demographic of people, right? There's a great chance that you're going to see an ROI, right? But from the consumer side, it's interesting because a lot of it is social media marketing. It's painting a picture of almost a dream for people. Who can I meet? How can I look? What products can I offer? Right. And so it's interesting when you're going for mass sales, because we have to get thousands and thousands and thousands of people to FITCON.
Right.
It's such a different process and superhuman on I guess the difference is this is closing. This is more mass marketing.
Right.
Like it's almost two different sales processes.
Yeah.
So again, getting coaching from you.
No, I love it. Yeah.
The universal principle of the closing, let's say, where you said, show empathy, understand, but don't, agree or embrace that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Is that applicable also, do you think, to the mass marketing from a bigger standpoint? Right?
Yeah. I think, well, when you were talking about the mass marketing, the thing that stood out the very most is you're painting that picture for them of this is where you could be, this is what you could do, this is what you could look like that speaks to somebody wherever they're at. Because there may be someone who is really close to being like, hey, dude, I could give me 6 months and I'm getting on stage and I'm going to compete in a show. Or I think Executive Fight Night is one of your events too, right?
Yeah.
I've had 3 buddies do that.
Really?
And they loved it, man. They loved it. But none of them had ever boxed. None of them had ever done any fighting at all, other than like they played football, which is the most violent they had ever been.
Yeah.
But they started training for it, and they took on this identity because in marketing to the masses,
interesting,
you were able to convey, well, this is where you could go. And like, dude, it's profound. It was really cool. So I think really sales is just meeting people, whether you're marketing to one or the masses, where they're at. And then, like you said at the beginning, creating that gap or acknowledging the gap exists. And then the solution you have to offer closes that gap faster and easily for them.
It's good.
That makes sense?
Oh, it makes sense.
Cool.
This is fantastic. Sorry, I just took it on. I was really interested in all of these questions. This wasn't even, so we can restart the podcast and do it the right way if we need to. But man, that was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, like it's interesting. A lot of the stuff I was doing from the B2B world and even the B2C world, I was just naturally doing because it made sense. But when I transitioned to that closer's role, I was so scripted and trying to do it a certain way that I totally missed the essence of just my authentic personality and my energy coming out. But my energy and my skill level wasn't at a point where I could just totally do that. So I felt like I was in this middle ground of just circles.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude.
And laughing at myself and totally humiliating myself.
Yeah.
I remember I talked to Grant. He's the sales leader. And I was like,
he's a stud, man.
He's a stud. And I was like, Grant, man, like there's a couple other guys on the team where I was just like, there's no way they should be outselling me.
Dude, I get it, man.
And I'm getting blanked here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's been on my mind for all this time of how do I fix that? Like, how do I get better at that? And then how do I apply that to my personal endeavors, my entrepreneurial endeavors?
Right. 100%. Dude, I love it. I think, so what was his advice? What did he say?
His advice was, you suck. Hey. No.
So he met you where you're at.
He met me where I was at.
Okay, cool.
And then he just said, hey, basically either do you want to do this or you don't, Perfect. And I was like, oh, I really don't,
There you go. And so that answers your original question of if you really authentically don't want to do it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It just will not work. Like all 3 of those people, all 3 of the things have to be aligned. The salesperson has to be aligned. The service that you're providing or the product you're providing is aligned with what the person who wants to buy it needs and wants, and it just helps close that gap. And if those 3 things aren't in sync, then the universal idea of sales just does not happen.
Okay, I have another off question for you. This is so good.
You're great. These are great questions.
This is so good.
I feel like you planned this with Brady.
No, I didn't. I saw the questions. I'm like, this is like every other podcast interview. I want to do something different.
Let's do different.
I want to do different.
Okay.
So this is another issue I've run into on a sales side, but this is more from a culture and a sales team.
Right.
Do you think what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? But what comes first? Do you need a viable product that you've sold that there's enough demand and then you start bringing on salespeople? Or do you believe that you can have an idea and a concept and a product and bring on salespeople right away, even though it's not necessarily proven? Right? When is that time and place to replace yourself with someone who can sell it?
I think a big part of sales and the things that actually create the massive changes in humanity or the movement in humanity is something that can be delivered. So I think there's a super fine line of we can paint a vision like this. Let's use a Cybertruck, for example. It was like an idea, maybe a concept. It could be really cool, but it wasn't created. A bunch of pre-sales had taken place, and then people started getting it, and ta-da! Like the concept was there. Tesla had a little bit of a sales force in place already for the actual Tesla car, but then once the concept came into reality and then people started getting it, the push and the demand for it got even bigger. It's like, it's a fine balance. Like if you sell something you can't deliver, if Elon couldn't deliver the Cybertruck, then it's dead in the water.
Yeah.
So, and there's no point in bringing a bunch of salespeople on if what you're selling is dead in the water. But if you can paint the vision, get somebody excited about it, have them buy it, have them really love it, and the success of it is incredible and just does whatever it does for them, like, this is a win and I'm so glad I got it, then bring on salespeople and then recreate that winning emotion. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, because I feel like some previous ideas I've had that I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's bring on someone to sell it. And then I bring on someone to sell it, and it's like, well, they can't sell it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know really what it is. But I guess it was just me going too quick to the punch on actually giving a deliverable and what exactly we're doing.
I think there's a ton of value in fixing it while it flies, for sure. Like, let's get it in the air and let's just see what happens. I think that, again, the movements that all of a sudden now you have so much momentum and you've got just success coming out your ears are things that can be delivered, and it's so clear of what is in it for the customer, because the customer doesn't want to buy anything unless they know what's in it for them. Again, going back to that idea of the benefits, not the features. Like, what do I get out of getting your product and service?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The benefits, not the features.
Yeah. Features are cool, but it's what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of the biggest questions of all time is, why would I do this? What's in it for me? Supra, just going back to his example, or John's example, your abs is in it for you, dude. Feeling sexy again is in it for you. Feeling like an athlete again is in it for you. Like, if you want those things, let's go. If you don't, cool, stay where you're at, and we'll probably talk in 6 months.
You'd be really good.
Thanks.
You'd be the top closer.
I agree. I'd run circles around Grant. I just Grant's a stud. No, but it's what's in it for them, right? And so if you can deliver what's in it for them with the benefits, then hire salespeople for days, which is exactly what John has done.
Yeah.
Gone from him taking all of the calls to now he's got an entire team and they are crushing it.
Yeah.
Like, so, because they're legit, like you said, from the top down, they deliver what they say they're going to do.
It's the truth.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's wild. Okay. That was good stuff, man.
No, it's huge. So I am curious though, dude, how did FITCON start? And before FITCON, I think, if I recall, because we talked at an event a few years ago, you're originally from Canada, aren't you?
California.
They're the same to me.
CA, Canada.
Right.
CA.
So you're originally not from Utah.
No.
Okay. So, but then you came to Utah to play at the U.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if I also remember, Aces was your gym.
Yeah.
In Lehigh.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, which I love, beautiful facility. I think a pest control company owns it now.
I think so.
So, but all good. But how do we go from California, playing football at the U, building a sports training facility, to now we have the biggest convention expo that has ever been put on in the history of fitness is your baby?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, looking back, it's an interesting process. And I've honestly tried to dive into my why, because a lot of people ask that, well, how or why did you start it? And I think at that time, and I'll go through the process in a second, but I really think at that time it was more of my why force was I want to prove that I could do something on my own.
Awesome.
Because at the time when I finished playing at the University of Utah, I graduated, my mother had actually moved out to Utah and she had a volleyball club.
Okay.
So that's where we came in on Aces. The facility was she would bring the volleyball club.
Just out of curiosity, what's the name of the volleyball club?
The volleyball club was UP2,
okay,
Utah
cool.
Peak Performance.
Okay.
And then we were going to start a facility where I would train the athletes.
Gotcha.
She would bring in the volleyball club and start a facility.
Cool.
Then we had an investor come in and who built the facility, Aces
Okay.
Athletics. So we transitioned to everything to Aces Athletics.
Cool.
So working at Aces Athletics, my mom was running the volleyball. I was running the sports performance side.
Okay.
Filling it up, crushing it there. And then we won Best in State.
Okay.
Which was an award for the best sports performance
Does
training.
it kind of look like a Grammy?
Yeah, kind of.
I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, but it was really strange and interesting.
Yeah.
Because it didn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Because what happened was, you had to pay money to apply.
Okay, so it's marketing.
To be Best in State. So if
Cool.
you wanted to be considered Best in State,
Okay.
at the time, and maybe it's changed now, but we had to pay a little bit of money.
Okay.
Then if they selected you,
A little bit more money?
So if you wanted to attend the gala,
Okay.
you had to then buy a table where they announced the winner.
Okay.
Right. And so we
It's a
went to
great
the
model.
gala. Yeah, we went
Yeah.
there. And I remember when we won it, we sat down and I'm looking around at all the people and I'm like, hold on, all these people paid to be here? Like,
Yeah.
how does this make any sense? And so I was like, well, that's a really interesting business model. So then I went on an idea of let's do one for Utah's top trainer.
Yeah.
You know, let's do the same model, but for Utah's top trainer. And that fell flat on its face. And it was a really dumb idea, but it transitioned into FITCON.
Okay.
Because the concept of I want to gather a bunch of fitness professionals together in one building. I want them to pay me to market and promote their product. Well, why don't we do this cooler? Why don't we, make an expo out of it? And then what happened? So I started that on the side. So I was working full time. I went back to school to get my master's full time. And then I started FITCON. So it was really like,
busy.
5 a.m. till noon, sports performance training, noon till 5, masters, 5 till 8, sports performance, 8 till 2, FITCON, repeat.
Wild.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Pre-kids, obviously.
I can only imagine it'd have to be.
So did that. And then what happened was I remember I went to the Olympia.
Okay.
I had never been to a fitness expo.
Yeah.
And I already booked the venue.
Yeah.
And I went to the Olympia for the first time.
Time out. Let's back up just a little bit. So you had already booked the venue. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And you had never even been to a show.
No, I'd never been to a fitness expo. I didn't even know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah. And it's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Smart. Anyways. So I go to the Olympia, which is, one of the biggest fitness expos.
Yeah.
And I remember walking through the doors and looking around and being like, what did I just get myself into?
I love it.
Like, what is this?
Send it, dude.
Full send.
Yeah.
And so basically I saw kind of what they did, audited it, started to get some concept, brought it back.
Okay.
Ran the first year of FITCON.
Yeah.
And that did well for our first year.
Okay.
And then what happened was I transitioned out of ACES and into FITCON full time.
Okay.
So that's kind of the transition of what happened there. And then it was just figure it as you go. Like,
fix it while it flies, baby.
Fix it while it flies.
Yeah.
And, just like every entrepreneur made every mistake in the book possible, especially looking back. But I go back to your question earlier is why did you start it?
Yeah.
And for me, the driving force was because I was working with my mother at the time.
Right.
I felt like there may have been some pull on, well, you're under her wing, know?
I get you.
And, I just wanted to do something on my own and prove to myself that I could do it on my own.
Yeah.
And so that was really the foundational reason as to starting it.
So not to dive too off the deep end, but I am so curious in proving that you could do it on your own, because clearly you did. FITCON is a massive success. It's awesome. What did you learn? Like when you proved it to yourself that you could do it on your own, what did you learn?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'm still learning.
Good.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. The further I'm removed from it, the more I look back and learn from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But just some key takeaways that I learned from FITCON, but more importantly, I would say being in business and all by yourself, right? Relying on your own income, not somebody else.
Okay.
Is number one, like it all starts with your vision and what you want to accomplish.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is really it comes down to what are you trying to actually do? What's your dream? I feel like dreaming is a lost art.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't dream and don't know how to, and they think it's goofy and funny.
Mm.
So it's interesting. I've been doing some street contacting on people.
Yeah.
Just asking them what their dreams are.
Really?
And
I'm curious.
People don't know how to dream.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
Right.
And oftentimes their dreams are not big or very small or where they currently are.
Right.
And so I'm really convinced that if you ask the most successful people in the world what their dreams are versus just anyone on the street, two completely different answers.
I agree.
And I'm telling you, success in one person's life comes down to what their dream is.
I agree with that.
I really am serious.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
So if you would ask me what I learned with FITCON 2 years ago, it would have been, oh yeah, like, you know, you got to have a good plan. You got to have a good team. You know,
Right.
Now 2 years removed, I'm looking back and I said, my dreams weren't big enough. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And so now fast forward to where I am now, it's like, okay, well, if someone was to ask me, what are my dreams?
Right.
Do I have an actual answer for them?
Do you?
Right. And you know, it's an interesting question, because when I say like dreaming, I'm talking something when like you see it, you feel it, you touch it, you can smell it. Like it's so real to you.
Yeah.
And if I had a candid answer for you right now, I would say there's not anything right now that's like so real to me that that I want to accomplish my dream, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I'm not just saying a dream to say a dream, right? Something that I really want.
Right.
And I would say that that's correlated to like right now in my entrepreneurial journey back, you know, after I sold it, I'm, you know, back in it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what do I want to do?
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so deducing all of that, I'm telling you, it comes back to the people who know what they want.
Get it.
They go the furthest in life.
I thought, you ever read the book, The Strangest Secret?
No.
So it's old. It's by Earl Nightingale. It's like way back in the day, like Napoleon Hill era. And in his book, he talks about going on the street and saying, why do you go to work? And everybody, usually 9 out of 10 people will be like, I don't know, because everybody else does. And it's that one person who knows why they're going that ends up going further, because they know what's in it for them, right? So you can call it what's your why, but really what's in it for you? Like, and that's how sales happens. You sell yourself on, okay, well, what's in it for me? I'm going to go through all this effort. What do I get out of it? And then it's the same with if you're conveying it to another person. I'm going to sell you something that's going to require some effort from you. What are you going to get out of it? Or it's going to require resources from you. If it's business to business, you're going to have to invest this amount of money, but here's what's in it for you. That's an easy gap to close. You're going to have to quit eating this crap and start eating this stuff. And then here's what's in it for you. It's so easy to sell. I think so. Maybe to answer add to the answer of the original question, is that universal. If you can convince somebody of what's in it for them, then it becomes easy and effortless.
It's good.
I love it. I think so. Where are you at with FITCon now? Like
I actually bought FITCon back.
That's what I had heard.
Yeah.
You had told me, I know you had sold it, and then you had just built a beautiful home in Heber, right?
Yeah, that we never moved into.
Yeah, and then
okay. So you would take so this is what I've learned the last couple of years. This is what's fascinating. So yeah, I built a big beautiful home in Heber for people who might listen to this. It's right outside Park City up in Heber Midway.
Right.
Our dream home, what we consider a dream home, 6,000 square foot dream home, backed up. You can see all of Mount Timpanogos, like just stunning.
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
And it checked every box. And during that time, what we realized was we were happy.
Yeah.
But we were just going through the motions of life.
Okay.
Just going through the motions.
Right.
Right. It was a weird time. I didn't have to work. Kids were happy. Everything was good.
Yeah.
Building this house.
Yeah.
And I was so bored.
Yeah.
And miserable.
I love it.
That it was one of the most profound lessons to me was like, that doesn't matter. Okay. Unless you want it, really want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I was doing a lot of that stuff because that's what you were supposed to do.
Right.
Right. So we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we need to switch something up.
Yeah.
I remember that I had this business trip in Hawaii and I was texting my wife and I'm like, something's missing. Something's disconnecting here in life. Like I'm just not happy.
Right.
Something's not right. Cause we have everything, but I'm not happy. And so anyways, to make a long story short, we moved out here to Scottsdale.
Okay.
And we're renting a 2,200 square foot house.
Yeah.
In this awesome neighborhood.
Right.
While we're finishing building our 6,000 square foot outside of Park City.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And we just learned that having our own individuality, having our own thoughts, having our own opinions,
right.
Really becoming who we wanted to be without any external expectations or external belief systems that were, put on us.
Yeah.
Where we could just be ourselves.
Right.
And we could raise our family and create our own culture in our family.
I love it.
It's been the most beneficial and healthy thing for us we've ever done. So to answer your question, yeah, we built the house, never moved into it.
Did you sell it? Or
we just sold it a couple months ago.
Okay, cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, it took a year. And now we're out here on this journey of like, what's next? Because for that last 2 years, it was really, I couldn't think past Heber, that bubble. I couldn't think past it was a really interesting state of mind.
Right.
So then we come out here and now it's like, what's my dream?
Right.
Like, what do I actually want to accomplish?
Yeah.
So in that process, it was, okay, well, the guys who bought FITCON,
right.
Suppose from what I heard from everybody else, might not have done the best job.
Right.
And so I had the opportunity to buy it back for really, really cheap. So I was like, cool, let's do it. So bought that back.
Yeah.
And so that's next year.
I love it. Where in Utah, where are you doing the event?
So we'll just do it in Utah next year. We got to start back from ground zero.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Can I share with you a thought I kept having as you're telling me your story? So we've all heard without a vision, the people perish, right?
I have not heard that, but that's good.
So without a vision,
at least not that specific statement,
the people perish. And so if the dream's not there, like you have everything that you want, you dreamed big, like you went full send, you got a venue, never been to an expo, but you had this vision, you had this dream, we're doing this thing. It takes off, you have massive success because you held the vision and you're running full throttle. You sell it, you now have the perceived idea that I have everything that I could ever want according to everybody else, but there was no more vision. There was no more dream, just like what you were saying and talking to the other people of there's no dream. The art was lost and you're not happy. That's the exact, that makes so much sense to me, dude. Because happiness comes, in my opinion, comes from growth and comes from this is what we're going to get and we're getting it.
Dude, it's so true.
I love it. That's cool.
And just to tie that back in to sales a little bit, because I know this is sell anything. And I honestly feel like having a dream and a goal is almost essentially selling yourself on the purpose of life.
I agree.
Right?
I 100% agree.
Right? Yeah. And so it is interesting because you have to essentially sell yourself.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And there are a lot of people out there that they sell themselves every day, but they're selling themselves on somebody else's dream and somebody else's vision. And they're not happy. They don't know how to dream. But as soon as that clarity of this is what I'm doing, this is what my purpose is or my destiny, whatever you want to call it, it has different linguistic labels for sure. But once you know, dude, I'm destined to win, and the only way I win is to continue to grow, and you can sell yourself on that growth and that vision, dude, life is fun. And that's really how to convey sales to anybody of, okay, here's where you're at. Let me paint a picture for you. Just imagine, if you will, going back to the fitness example. You're 80 pounds down. You can move easily. You can move effortlessly. You go to scratch yourself and you're like, wait a minute, that's a pec. That's not a boob anymore. Things are different. And you paint.
Sounds like you've been there.
I've been there, dude. Dude, here's the thing. So I knew of ACEs because I put myself through school as a personal trainer. So when you were saying all this stuff of I'm up at 5, I'm training clients, then I go to school in the middle of the day, that was my life. Yeah. I literally put myself through school as a trainer, and I could sell the lights out of training because it was so easy because you could see how unhappy people were, and you're really just selling them. And this is not meant disrespectful. You're selling them hope, but with an actual solution that if they'll follow, it's stinking science. If you'll hit your numbers and you'll do your workouts, it will work. It's science. It's thermodynamics. It has to work. So if you can sell them that and then deliver the solution, their life changes and you have a lifelong buddy because you've literally changed their life. But I don't even remember where I was going with this, but I put myself through school as a trainer, and then I went back because you were like, sounds like that experience. I did. Then I got this entrepreneur bug, and I started my own business because I was finding that a lot of the people I was training had their own businesses, and so they could afford to pay me, or their wives were paying me, and it was okay, the common denominator is these people are entrepreneurs. That's who can afford to pay me. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I started a business and I gained like 40 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'm not ever going to go to the gym again because I'm not going to let anybody see me. This is embarrassing. And then, but that business failed miserably. And then I went and I started knocking doors and I didn't gain any more weight, but I got so much softer, dude. You don't look good eating gas station food. It just doesn't go well, like by any means. And then I went through John's program and it's worked. And I've ebbed and flowed, but like, I'm not nearly as soft as I once was. So I do have the experience for sure. And but it's awesome, dude. Fitness is a beautiful thing, and helping people see that vision of whether it's fitness or safety or whatever the dream is, business coaching, marketing. If you can paint the vision of where they're going, that's what people buy. So I think that's really the universal answer of sales is, can you paint the vision and make it super clear of what is in it for them so that they're willing to invest.
Yeah. And universal, now that honestly with this conversation, I think it is universal. It's, can you paint a vision for your clients? Can you paint a vision for yourself? Can you paint a vision for your family?
Right.
For your kids,
100%. Your employees, all of them.
Yeah, it really does come down to
dreaming bigger, just like you were saying.
Dreaming. What's your dream? And people like, it's interesting. I've been consulting a few businesses and they want to be liked by everybody. It's impossible. But they want to be liked by everybody and no one wants to pay for their service. And I keep telling them, you got to draw a line in the sand.
Right.
You got to be on one side or the other and force people to make a decision. You got to force people to either love you or hate you.
Right.
And it's interesting. Basically, all I'm telling them is like, how big is your vision? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to be
just set a standard.
People. It's just, what's your standard?
Right. I agree with you.
And either people want to pay you for that process to get on your standard, or they don't want to because they want to be that, but they don't want to admit there's an ego involved.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting process, but I think that that's the same thing I'm just talking, like, this is more learning for me, but with my life and my family and how I act every day is, what's my standard? What do I sell myself on? What's my non-negotiables? Where do I draw the line?
Yeah.
Do people know of that? Am I able to paint that picture for them?
Right.
Because then it's easy to make decisions and it's easy to quote sell.
100%. 100%. Because I think people find that they're more aligned with who they are and what they have to offer. The people who could benefit from who they are and what they have to offer just seem to come out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just isn't a equal mutual value exchange of this is what I got, this is what you need, let's do this. Yeah. And it's no longer selling, it's now a service. And there's just happens to be an energy exchange there.
Yeah. It's good.
So
man, thanks. That was good for me.
That was my pleasure, man. Thank you.
I think this is a cool real life learning experience.
Yeah, this is fun, man. This is super fun. I really do love what you said about the dream. Like, it makes so much sense to me. People, they don't know how to do it.
Dude, it's been fascinating asking. I'll show you video.
I would love to see it.
And I asked him, like, what's your dream? And I'm like,
what'd he say?
Wait, that's your dream? Well, that's easy. Just do, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I would ask, like, my business partners their dreams, who are like highly, highly successful.
Yeah.
It's like, there's that is it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm telling, everything else in between doesn't matter, because if your dream isn't as big, you're not going to do the work or make the changes or make the necessary moves to really forward your life. And you're always going to be in that circumstance. Right. It's fascinating. I mean, maybe there's there's every once in a while someone gets out of it, right?
Well, no, dude, I agree with you 100%. And so we have the common thread of will, right? With Upgrade. And Richard Bandler, he's one of the founders of NLP, right? He said, and this isn't verbatim, but essentially our greatest limitation are the things we haven't considered.
Yeah.
Right. And so if we haven't considered that dream is even possible, why are we even going to put in the effort to go get it? But as soon as, this is possible, I can do this, dude, let's run.
And it's interesting. So just going back to that, Man, I love this stuff. I could get deep into this. This is where I nerd out. But it's so interesting because for the longest time, you know, going through Upgrade, which single-handedly was one of the most transformational experiences of my life.
Agreed.
I found myself though dreaming or wanting to want things that other people wanted.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really what I wanted. So what I mean by that was, because the natural thing everyone goes to is get a Ferrari, get a sports car, right?
Yeah.
Have the house, right?
Right.
So I started to really start to focus on those things.
Right.
And I actually felt a lot of being stagnant in life.
Yeah.
And the moment that I shifted my mindset from wanting what I thought I should want to what do I really want?
Right.
And I met myself at that level. Right?
Dude, you're talking sales 101 to yourself right now.
I know. Like life just moved and things just happened and then I got it. And
right.
And then, so I think there's a balance of, and that's why I go back to see, feel, touch, smell, because that to me is the single-handedly most important principle of all of this is whatever that dream is, how real is it to you and how bad do you want it? Or is it something that you want because other people think you should have, or what culturally people want?
Agreed.
And that to me is like, I should put a little caveat to the difference between ultra successful people versus people who aren't, is they know their dreams and it's so real to them.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's already happened.
Because it's what they actually want.
Because they actually want.
Dude,
whether it's an experience or a car, it doesn't really matter.
I
like
agree
for
with
me,
you.
it was VIP Disneyland.
Yeah.
That for some reason with my family,
yeah.
VIP, I want to walk around with the person wearing the little checkered vest and I want to get fast passes on every ride anytime I want to. And I want, right?
Yeah.
For some reason that's a thing. Tingled. It is.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. So for the longest time, I was like, oh, I really want to buy that McLaren or whatever. Right.
Yeah. Dude,
and life stuck. And then I shifted that to, and I know McLaren and a VIP Disney are on two different levels of like financial, whatever, but
it's your dream.
I just finally was authentic to that. And I could see it and I could touch it and I could hear the sounds and the smells.
Yeah.
And it happened so fast.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that was too easy. Why can't I just replicate this? Right.
No,
it's awesome. It's that magic power of like, how often can you dream about what you really, really want?
It's
like, to me, that's the skill set.
It's a superpower for sure. And that is the essence of sales, is helping someone see that dream and then facilitating the product you have facilitates that dream to come true. It's a beautiful thing. Like, you were so similar in that same thing. Upgrade was so transformational for me, where I just started to think so much differently. But I don't need a Ferrari, like, nor do I think I even want one. I'd rather actually have like an F-250. Like I don't know. But, and I would just find myself, same thing. But then as soon as I got clear on, dude, I'd actually pay money to go hunt. Like life started to move fast. And I started to have experiences where I was like, that was the coolest thing that has ever happened to me. Like, and it fires me up. I still can think about it and I just smile and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. And you don't discount like having a Ferrari.
Oh, I love it.
Like in the future, no, but I'm saying even for like you and me, like that might be something in the future, but right now at this point in my life, it's not.
Right.
It fires me up. And finally when I was like, that's okay, but my dream is still big enough that fires me up to go do whatever I need to do to accomplish that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I met with a guy yesterday who he told me, and his brother was with him. He's basically like, I might be, and he was genuinely sincere. He's like, I might be Porsche's #1 purchaser right now. Like, and just for the sake of privacy, I won't say his names. I'll tell you after the podcast, but he's like, they love me. Like, I buy so many Porsches that I don't even know how many I bought from them, but homeboy also loves to hunt. He loves to fish and it's been an incremental step, because the more you dream and the bigger you dream and the faster you dream. And the funny thing is he said the exact same thing that you did, in that just dream bigger, faster. And dude's created multiple billion-dollar companies already. He is uber successful. And that is the one thing he wish he would have done faster, is dream bigger.
I need to put that at the end, dream bigger, faster. Because that's exactly it. Because I personally am stagnant as I have the dream. And then once I get it, it happens so easily and effortlessly. And then it's like, well, what's next? Well, how do I find my next dream?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's it. Dream bigger, faster.
Yeah. It's powerful, man. Okay. Well, just to bring it full circle on sales, if I was to say, all right, sell me on FITCON. I've never been. I don't know what it is.
From a consumer or a business, because it's kind of two different sales standpoints.
Let's go consumer, because that was what started the conversation.
Okay.
Sell me on FITCON.
Yeah. So my strategy, because it's more mass marketing.
Right.
Okay. So this is not high ticket.
Yeah.
This is not get someone on a sales call and close them. Right. This is how do I get the masses to see, feel, want.
Yeah.
So the process I would take people on is there's a few. The first process I would take them on, and we'll be getting to this process, but is take them on the customer journey. The first one is the branding side, which is like the process side. And so my game plan moving forward on, let's say, a social media side, because that is let's say one of the biggest drivers, right? Okay. We have email marketing, text marketing, billboards, et cetera. But let's just say from a social media standpoint.
Okay.
Right. Obviously, for the first part is I'm going to show the energy of the event.
Right.
So if I was to sell someone on it, be like, hey, this event is for people who are interested in the fitness industry, who either are avid fitness goers, or they're just starting their journey.
Okay.
And they want to be around some sort of environment with like-minded individuals who are wanting to be fit, be healthy, and are willing to invest in themselves to make that happen.
Okay.
Right. And then there's different verticals within that. But that's the overarching thing is we're an entertainment company. Okay. And that's what I've learned is we are an entertainment company. People want to come to FITCON to feel good, to look good, to try the latest product, to buy discounted product, to meet their favorite influencers, to meet their favorite guests, to watch their family members perform in a sport, to be experienced and open their eyes to a different sort of sport or modality of fitness, right? So there's all these kind of levels, but our tagline at the core is find your fit. So that's what I focus on is we help people find their fit. Whatever it may be. We're going to bring in as many modalities of fitness and make it as entertaining as possible. Okay. So they can find their fit on what they want to accomplish in life. So I don't know if that's much of a sales process, but that's our brand messaging and that's our brand process and that's our platform. And then we tell the story through social media, through email marketing, behind the scenes process, who we're getting, who we're bringing, why we're bringing them, things like that. Okay. So I don't know if that's the best example for you to audit me on, but.
Well, I think it actually goes hand in hand with what we were talking about anyways. Like, find your fit is really you're helping them get clear on what their dream is. And if you're providing, so one, you're meeting them where they're at, just starting their fitness journey, or they're already jacked, or they're professional influencers already, you're meeting them where they're at. And their fit, their next level of fit is whatever they determine it is, but you're facilitating a product and a service that helps them get there. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to deliver on it. Like you've proven that. Yeah. Like it's there, man. I think that's beautiful. And it makes sense why it's been so successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks.
No, thank you, man. This has been awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. It's been so cool.